I'm frozen.
Well, welcome to Fantasy Pros. We're doing waiver questions this week. I know. We're doing waiver questions. We are going to sit here and run through all of your questions here live for the show. Joe apparently is having some Joe issues. We call that boomerisms in the Fantasy Pros Slack channel. But yeah, we're going to run through top ads. We're going to go kind of encapsulate some things we talked about on the podcast as I filibuster and wait for Joe to hop back in the show here. Going through the top 5 ads for yesterday. If you haven't checked out the podcast we did with Chris Allen, he is fantastic. Fantastic follow out on Twitter. My top 5 guys for the week. And yes, I know 50%. He's over 50%, but he's still got to be number one here. Brian Robinson is my top running back pickup. He might not be available in your league, but look, if he is, you need to be picking him up. The Washington Commanders told us, like, from the get-go that, yeah, Gibson's been good for the last 2 years, but doesn't matter. He was going to look like the starter coming out of camp. We cannot dismiss whether that's going to be real again whenever he does hit the NFL field again. Other guys making the top 5 this week, Jakobi Meyers, talked about this on the podcast, near a 30% target share. There is no way he should be out on your waiver wire. 9.5 targets per game. That volume alone, regardless if you hate the Patriots offense, and if you hate the Patriots offense, I get it, but still, we love volume, and volume is king in fantasy. Look at there's Joe. Now I can stop doing my filibustering. The king of waivers is back.
Hello, my people. Welcome back, everybody. I don't know what happened there. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the waiver wire stream. We're off to a banger start, and it's okay. We're having fun. It's waiver wire week 3. We're taking your questions. Now that I'm back in the chat, by the way, Chris is working overtime to get the names back into, because I probably missed the first group of questions that you dropped in there, Chris. FYI, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We want to answer your questions about the waiver wire, Derek Brown. Thank you for starting the show without me. But they always say, any meeting that they can't start without you, now that's a meeting worth going to. That's something that I learned from a movie a long time ago. So Derek Brown, I am very hot to try on the waiver wire this week. I know you are as well. We just had the waiver wire pod yesterday for people who missed it with our buddy Chris Allen. And it was certainly a lot of names, I think, that were out there that could still help people. Mm-hmm. So let's kind of recap for everybody just your top 5 real quick. And just so everybody kind of knows where you stand as we let all the questions filter in here for week 3.
Well, since I was waiting for the host extraordinaire to re-arrive in the building, I went through the top 2 guys for being Brian Robinson and Jakobi Meyers, rounding out that top 5. Would be Raheem Mostert, who we saw take over the early down work. And honestly, if they wouldn't have been trailing as much, he probably wouldn't have or Edmonds probably wouldn't have gotten as much work, as they switched him down to the passing down back, long down and distance guy. So Mostert's number 3. Logan Thomas is number 4 for all the reasons I discussed in the weekend waiver wire stash video that came out before last week's action. He made the top 5 list. Good matchups upcoming. I think his routes go up. Target share is looking good. And the Washington offense is surprising. And Joe, we talked about this guy on the DFS shows. We've talked about him in numerous weeks. He's an easy, sexy ad because of the matchups and the offense. Greg Dortch. He is out there in so many leagues, man. And you got to pick him up. And it probably doesn't cost you a lot of money to do so. But we talked about the next 3 games for the Arizona Cardinals. The best matchups across the board are against their slot corners. So what does that mean? Greg Dortch each season is still upon us.
I think this is that time of year too, D, where you start to look ahead at the schedule for these guys for the next couple of weeks. When you just kind of pointed that out there with Dortch, I think you're doing it for a lot of the guys on the waiver wire, a lot of guys on your bench too. If things aren't going well and there's players that haven't done much and they've got some tough matchups coming up, it's time for some tough love. Cut those dudes and then go ahead and, pick up somebody else in the waiver wire that can help you over the next few weeks, because you don't want the season to get away from you. I'm always practicing patience with certain players, but at the same time, if you're 0-2 right now, you've got to look at what you've got, and you've got to make some hard decisions, and we're going to get to some of those decisions. By the way, I want to remind everybody, don't forget, we've got a stunning jersey giveaway. It's Derrick Henry, who I believe is my bold prediction going to be the RB1 in half PPR this week. That's right. Bounce back, overcorrection for Derrick Henry is coming. But that
Hmm.
Tennessee Titans jersey can be yours thanks to our good friends at Pristine Auction. All you got to do is be a subscriber of our YouTube channel, which, I mean, you should be. And if you aren't, well, then go do it right now. And then make a comment below, ask a question here in the video, because you can only ask a question or comment if, of course, you are a subscriber of Fantasy Pros. And that's it. You are entered automatically. Just don't forget to click that little bell for notifications so you know every time a piece of content drops and who wins that contest, because it could be you. You never know. Anything is possible. So let's get to some questions and see what's possible for our friends out here. We've got Scrumptious wants to know Robinson or Bateman this week. Now, I'm going to assume, once again, we're going to come back to the same thing. We get if you're asking a question about a Robinson or a Moore, I beg you all, give at least the first initial, just so we're clear, so we're not giving you bad advice. There's a lot of Robinsons, there's a lot of Moores, there's a lot of stuff going out there. So I just want to make sure. But I assume we're talking Allen Robinson or Rashod Bateman this week. Who would you rather start this week?
I'm gonna go with Robinson. Again, we're early through the week and stuff, so start sit questions. But if memory serves, the Rams do get the Lions this week. Well, no. Sorry, Cardinals. I remember it was a good matchup. They get the Cardinals this week, who still are trotting out backup Waterboy corners. So yeah, give me Allen Robinson.
Well, I mean, I thought that Rashod Bateman had a tough matchup theoretically this past week. Turned out not to be the case. So I mean, the Dolphins are going to go to the drawing board. So you went Robinson there. I would go Bateman personally. I just think that's the dude. I know Robinson looked better, but there's a weird non-trust factor I have with Robinson. I just can't shake it. So sorry, Scrumptious. You got the two opinions there. Grant S, Tua or Wentz? Who should I get? Now, Tua's going to be playing against the Bills this week. I don't know if we can expect the same kind of matchup there. They are going to be down another corner, though. We saw that tough injury last night. Thank goodness for that player that things are okay. It looks like all the feeling in the extremities and everything. I know Wentz has put up some big fantasy numbers, but who do you trust more, Tua or Wentz next week?
Yeah, even if Dane Jackson is out this week, it's hard to trust Tua. Buffalo's defense has been so good, and it's been a roller coaster. Don't get me wrong, Joe, but Wentz has played well, and the weapons are working out, man. So I'm going to ride with Wentz this week. And I did not think that week 3 of going into 2022, Carson Wentz was a name that we were going to be like, yeah, feel pretty good about starting him.
So no concerns about starting him against your Super Bowl champion Eagles. I'm again, spoiler alert. And I got to give you credit, dude, because you were the guy who was saying, hey, the Eagles are for real. And I was still a little hesitant, but you were 100% right so far. The Eagles absolutely look for real. But even with how good they've looked here in these first 2 games, you would still go with Wentz, eh?
I would, in the sense that as long as Wentz doesn't do idiotic Kirk Cousins things and say, hey, I'm going to sit here and force feed targets to Darius Slay and James Bradbury's way. Like, they have the weapons to sit here and play well against the Eagles defense, considering they give up production of receiving backs. Could be a McKissick game. Their zone defense is vulnerable versus tight ends, i.e. Logan Thomas. And you can get production from the slots. I think it's Curtis Samuel. So really, it's just outside of McLaurin and Dotson, Wentz could still have a really good game based off if he's going to give the ball to his other weapons.
All right, let's move on to another question. And remember, everybody, you can drop your questions about waiver wire, about trades, food, beverage, whatever, movies. It doesn't matter. We'll answer the questions. We'll take all the questions you got. Mark Cleveland has a question for you. This is going to be a loaded one, though. Your thoughts on Irv Smith? I know Derek Brown is a fan. Last night had a touchdown, also had a drop through his hands. But maybe we'll forgive him for that. So where are you at with Irv Smith right now? Let's say rest of season rankings. Is he a tight end 1? Is he still on the peripheral for you? How do you view Irv Smith?
I think he's on that borderline, and I haven't gotten his data yet. I've already started my work for the primer and stuff, but I haven't gotten to what Minnesota did last night. But what I wanted to see, and at least from the eyeball test, was I wanted to see his snaps and his routes go up, working back from the injury and stuff. Saw him on the field a ton last night. It was a fantastic matchup, so it was a good Irv game. I mean, as long as his snaps and routes come up, I think that rest of the season we're looking at somebody that's in the fringe top 12, like top 15-ish, but he could climb if the data is telling me that his role was climbing, because, Joe, there's other guys that have fallen out of that. I mean, like, good Lord, like, I mean, we have to drop Cole Kmet at this time, right? Like, he's
Albert
not even top 12.
Cole Kmet. I mean, I picked up Everett everywhere last week that I had tight end issues. So when there were issues, I looked for Gerald Everett, just saying, okay, Let's see if we can get by with 1 week here. And now I'm looking at the rest of the garbage out there and go, you know what? I think we're just going to keep this one and just see how it goes for the next couple weeks. And look, I mean, maybe Hayden Hurst, maybe Conklin, maybe there's some other guys that start to get to this conversation. That's how you speculate. Logan Thomas, if he's available in your league. I played a lot of sharp leagues. He was not available this week for pickup, unfortunately, for me. But that's a guy that probably is floating out there in your waiver wire if you're having tight end problems too. Would you rather have Logan Thomas or Irv Smith rest of season?
Logan Thomas right now.
I agree. Good answer. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to Carl. Carl wants to know, keep both Dotson and Samuel, or if not, which one's better? I would keep both because I think they're different. Yeah, I mean, Samuel is being used a lot, and people are saying, well, Dotson's just catching touchdowns, all this stuff. But if you watch Dotson, the reason he's catching touchdowns, again, this is the things where you're not watching the game versus just reading the stat line. He is so quick with that first step off the line. So he gets that leverage point. He gets in there. He is in the end zone and open, and you can get a quick pass to him. That's not going away anytime soon, D. I'm still thinking that Dotson brings more value than people realize, and that can only improve as the season goes on.
The way I look at it is you keep both because, Joe, both of these guys are in the wide receiver 3-ish, 4-ish territory where they're matchup plays. When the matchup says to play them, so let's break that down for a second. Curtis Samuel, if it's a good slot matchup, let's roll with him that week. If we're looking at a team that's bad versus deep targets, then let's go with Dotson. I mean, he's shown us, like, the volume is not going to be massive for Dotson, but, yeah, you talked about the touchdowns. Yes, okay, they're fluky, but it's also, he's talented. And when you have talent and you produce when you're given looks, you earn more. That's how targets work, people. Targets are earned. So Dotson is on his way to earning more targets, and he has the deep role for this team. So play the matchups. Keep both.
Speaking of targets, let's segue to a guy who's getting a ton of targets on the New York Jets. In fact, this dude was my sleeper app waiver wire pickup of the week. He's still available in about half of leagues. It's Garrett Wilson. Oh, look, there he is. My goodness, look at all the targets. So delicious. 22 targets in 2 weeks. Joe Flacco renaissance continues for the New York Jets. And look, is he going to be wide receiver 4 every week? Probably not. But is he an all-world talent? Absolutely. In terms of Ohio State bred wide receiver, these guys tend to transition very well into the NFL historically. He is right now the favorite son of Joe Flacco. So I would even venture to say, we talked about it, would you drop Elijah Moore if you had to for Garrett Wilson? I think that's a move we would make. But if this guy's out there, to me, this is a guy that I would be very aggressive on, whether you're playing on Sleeper app or anywhere else. D-Bro, when it comes to difference maker guys, usually on the waiver wire, it's more just Band-Aids. Do you think that this is a player worth a really extreme strong bid on from what you've seen the first 2 weeks?
I think he fits the mold of breakout candidate wide receiver. Like, he could be exactly what we wanted, and I talked about this on the podcast. He could be what we wanted out of Elijah Moore, and that's not insane to say. His role has grown over the last 2 weeks. Looking at him, I mean, I wrote this up in the waiver wire article. I would be bidding aggressively for him, like 25, 30%. Because what we're looking at, Joe, every single year we have these wide receivers that are rookies that just burst onto the scene and they end up being amazing for fantasy. How can we not say that, like, top first round pick, already assuming volume, over a 30% target share in week 2? He can't be that guy just because what?
And the Jets will be playing from behind, what one would think most of the time. Just throwing that out there. Here's another one too. If Garrett Wilson, let's say, was on, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a team with like a sexier QB, kind of like if he ended up at Tampa, I think we'd all feel very differently going into the year about him. If he gave him the Packers situation, we'd all feel very different about him. He came into the Jets, so therefore he was a guy that was, and look, I was one of these people, I'm not writing him off, but saying, look, be careful. We can't expect too much. But now there's enough of a sample size to not only change your tune, but invest in a big way. Let's see what Cameron Miller wants to invest in. What do you guys think about Bateman for David Montgomery? I would rather be on the Bateman side of this game. Although Montgomery does have a good theoretical matchup this week on paper, I will take Bateman every single day and twice on Sunday. But D-Bro, what about you?
Are we looking at start sit here, or is he working a trade?
Let's do both. Let's say trade.
So if it was trade, I'm going to hold David Montgomery. I don't want to get rid of him this week because I do think the matchup is fantastic versus Houston. So get the points. I mean, right now in my early ranks, I have David Montgomery as a top 20 running back. If he blows up this week, you could get more in a
Get more
trade
than
back.
Bateman, you think?
I
think
think so.
Bateman's a pretty good ceiling
I
right
mean,
now.
okay, but the other side,
He's a top 20 receiver, isn't he?
I'm
Don't you
not
think
saying
Bateman's
that
a
I
top
don't
20
like
guy?
Bateman. I think he is, but could you get somebody even better than that if David Montgomery comes out here and he stacks 100-yard games back to back, Joe? Is that possible?
I don't want to play that game because he could stack 100-yard
Just
games
saying,
or he could
man.
disappoint. I'm going to take Bateman and run. And as
I
far as
don't
starting
hate
this
that.
week, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that. And the other thing about it is, yes, if we're starting this week, I'm trying to remember who Lamar is going. Oh, New England.
We got New
Yeah,
England, then
so
he's got Buffalo, but then after that
I
we
would
got
go ahead and
Cincinnati,
take.
New
I mean,
York, Cleveland, and then Tampa, New Orleans. So like there's some tough matches, but look, theoretically Miami was a tough matchup, and
yep.
I don't know, 4 of 7 for
He
108.
cooked Xavier Howard.
Pretty good, man. Dude, he
Yeah.
looked good in that game too. Watching him play, like the good dude's got great hands. I just want the better player and the better offense.
I would take Bateman in a trade. I have no issues with that. And as far as the start sit avenue, I think I would lean Montgomery this week though.
AJ Mills has a question. Is it time to let Travis Etienne go or hold on? D-bro.
Hold
on. Just like Wilson Phillips. Hold on.
So the thing about it is everybody's like, okay, should I drop a player? And it comes down to two things. One, what does your roster look like as far as running backs, wide receivers, whatever position we're talking about? And number two, who are you dropping them for? Like Etienne might not be the guy that we hoped this year. Does that mean that that doesn't change with injuries to other teams, injuries to his own team? Hell, they start throwing in the ball more. I mean, he still has the passing down work in this team, and that's valuable. We want running backs that catch passes. Well, Etienne's doing that.
All right. Franklin M. Drop Penny for Mostert. Is that a move you're willing to make at this moment?
Yeah, it is. I mean, you're looking at Mostert's usage last week, early down work. Look, if they would have been in positive game script, could we have seen him get even more of the work? And I don't think it's even close on who we're talking about being the better offense. So, yeah, I think Mostert, I would definitely be going that route.
Now, look, we're helping you out here, but if you need extra help with your leagues, and I mean leagues plural, because you know who you are. You know what's going on. You know you got more than one league. You want to make sure you dominate them all with My Playbook, because My Playbook is available only at Fantasy Pros. And if you're struggling with the waiver wire, you need some extra help, or you're trying to look at trades or analyze things in your league, the best place to be is My Playbook. That's over at fantasypros.com/myplaybook. You can go check it out right now. Actually, don't do it right now. Wait till after the show. Then you go do it. And if you can't decide who to start, it'll help you. If you want to turn on autopilot feature and just say, you know what? This league has gone to crap already. I lost Trey Lance. I lost all my best players. This guy's terrible. You know what? You can put on autopilot and still be a good league member, and it'll set your lineups for you every week. But it's only week 2, so you shouldn't be there yet. And if you want a more customizable approach, compare players side by side, all the breakdowns, all the projections, My Playbook gives that to you. It helps you dominate your league. Again, it's free when you're a premium subscriber at Fantasy Pros. So go to fantasypros.com/offers, make a little deposit, get 6 free months of Fantasy Pros, and boom, My Playbook is yours. All the elite tools will be all for you. Again, that's at fantasypros.com/myplaybook, or download the My Playbook app, which is spectacular, by the way, on our Android services or Apple services. You can get the My Playbook app. I love it. It's just the best. I really do. Shout out to our dev team too, because they have created it's beautiful. It's a beautiful app. It gives you everything you need to know. It's just so nice. See, I'm wearing my Italy shirt. This is so nice. Stereotypes aside.
It was going to come out.
Hey, what do you want? I smack in your face. All right, let's go. Justin Pearson, and I can do that because nobody's more Italian than me. Nobody. Justin Pearson traded Curtis Samuel and Pierce for Derek Carr in a PPR. Did I win? Curtis Samuel and Dameon Pierce for Carr in a PPR. That's a tough one to grade, not knowing the rosters here, D.
No, I mean, I'm not giving up. I'll stream quarterbacks for the rest of the season and go through the doldrums of quarterbacks before I'm giving up anywhere close to like RB3, wide receiver 3 types for a quarterback.
Well, I think I would agree. In a single quarterback league,
I don't think that's players.
A win. Yeah. I will say this, though. I think Pierce is in for a good matchup this week, too. I mean, No one's given up more rushing yards than the Bears. So we talked about the Bears side of that game for David Montgomery. This could be the week to buy on the dirt cheap for Pierce. I've already sent out several offers myself before the show.
Same.
Let's go here. Henry Spencer. Drop Cole Kmet for Tyler Conklin. We were just talking about this, D.
Yep. I would do it. It's and I don't think it's an overreaction. It's because Chicago's not running enough plays. They're not throwing enough. It's not because of Cole Kmet's talent, but until that changes, and it might not change because of how they want to run the offense this year.
I think they'll throw more this week than last week, but not
I
enough
mean,
maybe to sustain what we need. Another one too,
maybe.
another tight end problem. Garrett P. Drop David Njoku. I think it's okay. I know he's your dude, but tough love here. Tough love.
I mean, for who though? Like,
I'll tell you. All right, would you drop him for Logan Thomas?
yes.
Yeah.
I
Would
would drop him for a few different guys.
Conklin?
Yes. I mean,
Okay.
well, him and Conklin's an interesting conversation. I think like you're looking at like the gross but volume tier of like Logan Thomas is on the sexier end of that, but like Hayden Hurst, Evan Ingram, Conklin's on the low end of that.
Ingram was
Those
getting
guys.
a ton of quality, not just targets, but quality
Yep.
targets in that game. Didn't come down with all of them, but it was very eye-opening to me when I was watching parts of that game on Sunday. That was one that stuck out to me. I was like, oh, look at Evan Ingram. And of course, it was one of those things where and I don't know about you, maybe it's just me being old, but I hate the whole numbers thing because I don't know who anybody is anymore. So it
That's
drives
all
me
you.
crazy.
That's
It's
all
me.
you.
It's all
That's
me.
that's
I'm so
that's an old man
distracted.
screaming in clouds.
Like, I
No,
don't
mean,
understand
let a ball
why
wear
the
number
receiver's
2. I'm fine
wearing
with it.
number 7. I don't get it.
Oh,
Where's
God,
my
see?
tapioca? Damn it. All right. Let's go to let's go to another one here. Let's go to Rowdy Derrick. I don't know if that's you, Derrick, but this is just
I have
maybe your
burners.
rowdy cousin.
Yeah,
Would
burners.
you go Greg Dortch over Curtis Samuel? I don't know if I'm there. I'm testing your
I'm trying
love
to
of
remember
Greg
who
Dortch.
Samuel has. Washington is playing
Philly.
They're going to be in the same range. Yeah, go with Samuel only because I think the volume is a little bit higher weekly.
Yeah, I think the touchdown.
And well, plus the
upside
rushing
there, too.
attempts too.
Yeah, he's gonna touch the football more. You go with the Curtis
Dollar store
Samuel.
Debo.
There you go. So hope we made Rowdy Derrick happy. We don't want to get rowdy here on the show. Matthew Bona wants to know, should I sell high on Curtis Samuel? A lot of Curtis Samuel buzz today. Look at this. Do we want to sell high on him? I mean, I know it's been much better than we could have anticipated, but if you picked him up last week for next to nothing and now you have 2 weeks, I think he's more valuable to the team that has him than the team that doesn't. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
You got him
makes
for
sense.
nothing.
I mean, it all depends on these kind of like vacuum questions. What are you getting for offers? Like, what are you able to get? For me, I mean, no. I mean, in most iterations, I'm probably holding him because I don't think we've gotten to a point where we've jumped the shark and his value is better for trades than it is in real life. I think it's the opposite way around.
He's got 20 targets in 2 weeks. He's got 5 rushes for 38
Wow.
yards. I'm just throwing this out there, guys. Like, I mean, he's finished as wide receiver 17 and wide receiver 12, but I'll push the envelope. Is this guy a top 25 wide receiver rest of season?
I think he's the top. I think he's a wide receiver 3, probably.
Okay. Well, that's
if in
25,
PPR leagues
right?
too. Let me quantify that in PPR versus half point.
All right. Very well. He's bringing touchdown equity, so he's bringing a lot of that. All right. Yeah. Should I panic over Derrick Henry? That's a question for Andy L.
No.
By the way, that's a question.
No, I mean, what do you don't have? I mean, Derrick Henry's going to get 20 touches a week. I mean,
I've also
your
tried
better
to,
options.
I've also tried to send out feelers for Derrick Henry everywhere too. That's
I mean, as long as he's healthy, does he look like the Derrick Henry of old? No.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we all. I mean, I was saying, look, like you back off. Derrick Henry's not a first round pick. Nobody wanted to hear it then, but now we're seeing like, oh well, look at that. You're worried about Derrick Henry, but considering the volume he's going to get, he's still startable every single week, even if with his red zone equity alone and the volume.
I don't know if this is 3 words or 2. Massive overcorrection. Was overcorrection one word? I don't know. Chris, can we get a ruling on that? Was as a producer?
2 words? I think it's 2.
Overcorrection? Is that 1 word or 2 words? You're the writer, Debra. Do you think it's hyphenated?
Oh, we're splitting the difference. It's hyphenated.
Oh, so, God. He's like one of these independent
half?
people, right? He's like, cream or milk. No, I'll have half and half. That's where he wants. Speaking of Derrick Henry, we're giving away a Derrick Henry jersey. That's right here on the channel for our subscribers. The Sultan of Segway lives again. Let's go. This could be yours. Look at it. God, that is a hot jersey. Look at that bad boy. Autographed. Thanks to our good pals at pristineauction.com. All you got to do is be a subscriber, drop a comment, a question, talk about how nice Debro's beard is today. Right here. That's it. And you could absolutely win that Derrick Henry jersey, and click that bell for notifications so you know when content drops. And if you are the big winner, because, you want to be the big winner. And I'm a massive overcorrection. I think this week you go to Buffalo, you get your rear end handed to you. I think you turn back around and say, here you go, Derrick Henry. Here's the ball 25 times. Go be Derrick Henry. And that's what you do. Just what you do. Chris Davies has a question. Would you drop Ingram and Duvernay? I think you can, absolutely, depending on what's going on, right, D?
Yep. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think that week for the podcast, we were both kind of like saying, like, don't pick up Duvernay. It's fool's gold. So yeah, I mean, I would be dropping him.
Thomas Gage has a question about our sleeper app pick of the week, Garrett Wilson. It is, how much fab should I throw at Garrett Wilson in a 12-team league? So let's say you got $90 left. Let's say, let's just put it that way. You got $90 left to spend after the first 2 weeks. How much are you going to spend of that 90?
25%, 30%.
I was going to, yeah. Like I was thinking like $33.
I'm fine with $33. Yeah, 30 to 33. Like, I want to be aggressive on it because you don't see difference makers hit the waiver wire like this with the type of ceiling and talent profile. It just doesn't happen. So,
and
yeah,
Curtis Samuel might have been that first one. Garrett Wilson might be that second one. There might not be a third one. Like some years that just happens. Like they just get scooped up early and then nobody's really that interesting. It happens. Of course, I do think it's going to be Sky Moore after he gets dropped. And in week 8, we all
talked about
not doing
still there too.
I am not dropping him yet. I refuse to do it. My hate for Juju Smith-Schuster knows no bounds. All right, Chris McQueen. Do I pick up James Cook if he's available? This is an interesting one because we've been told that James Cook is going to be a player that they're going to continue to work in over time. You don't need to work him in a game where you're just absolutely obliterating the other team. So this is a fascinating one. Would you stash him if you were like a 2-0 team if he had a bench spot open?
Yeah, if you got a deep enough bench, I think he's fine. I mean, because the reality is right now he is the distant third RB3. But we talked about this again, like when people were bringing up Zach Moss, and I said, no, I'm not picking up Zach Moss. I'll just hold on to James Cook because I think Zach Moss is going to play himself out of that RB2 role. We've seen it happen time and time again, and James Cook just needs time to sit here and get on the field. So yeah, I would say if you got the room, stash him. The upside's still there.
All right. I want to remind everybody, if you're watching the show, give us a like on the stream. Go ahead. It takes one little second to just click that little thumbs up. It makes us all feel warm and fuzzy too. So go ahead, like the stream, please. We appreciate you. And we're happy to be here bringing you fantastic fantasy football coverage here at Fantasy Pros. That's some nice alliteration, by the way. I can't believe I actually said that and didn't stumble. Brunel, Jacobs, or McKenzie and Mooney droppable. Ugh. And it's kind of sad that Darnell Mooney's gotten to this point already after the first 2 weeks. I didn't think it was going to be this bad, but can you drop Mooney? McKenzie I get, but Mooney, is it too soon?
McKenzie, you can. Mooney, you can't. McKenzie, so this last game, and I have to go back and look at the full. I looked at half of the route data for that game through halftime, and he was splitting the slot role 3 ways with Shakir and him and Crowder. So if he's not going to be a full-time player, he shouldn't be a player on your teams. Mooney, I'm not there yet. Like I get it. If you're in a super shallow league, like an 8-team, maybe a 10-team league, and some of these other wide receivers like a Garrett Wilson is out there, then obviously, yes, I'm fine with that. But in a 12-team format or deeper, no, there's no way I'm giving up on Mooney, not after 2 games.
Also just got an update here, actually on my sleeper app, believe it or not, that said Mike Evans will indeed have his appeal heard today, actually. So we'll keep an eye on that, whether or not Mike Evans ends up playing this week or not. Defending the honor of Tom Brady is something that I support wholeheartedly, clearly. So I have no problem with him doing what he did. And if anything, we should be suspending the other guys for being mean to Tom Brady. How dare you be mean to Tom Brady?
As a Saints fan, I will push back against that. Go Lattimore.
What's funny about all that too is like, Tom Brady does look a little, I know that meme's been going around where he looks a little worse for wear. It does feel a little, I mean, they're signing Cole Beasley today. Like there's some definite.
Hey, I'll put it out there in the space, Joe. They're making the most awesome 2019 Madden team ever in Tampa this year.
Yeah.
It's pretty, but it's kind of not.
Awesome. Let's get that hit stick out. Lucas Bronco in the flex PPR, Travis Etienne or Tyler Lockett.
Etienne.
Yeah, agreed. Boy, Lockett's another one of these guys too. I have 0 shares. Like I just ran away from Seattle at every. I think I got 1 or 2 penny shares on the cheap, but after that, man, that Seattle team was just that. Ugh.
I've got Penny and Lockett on some best ball teams. Outside of that, I've no exposure in redraft. None.
All right, Mike Rogers has problems. We got to help Mike. He is 0-2 out of the gate. He needs running back help. Looking to trade Kelce. Thoughts on that? All right, so if you're going to trade Kelce, you have to, if you don't have an in-house running back, you either pick up Logan Thomas or you take a Zach Ertz type lower tier tight end back in a deal. And what would be the running back you'd be looking for? The one that came to mind for me is I'm looking for the A.J. Dillon types. I'm looking for maybe Javonte Williams off the bad week because his schedule gets better too as we go on. Anybody else come to mind for you if you're trying to say, okay, running back sucks. I want to move Kelce. That's my chip to kind of spread the love around a little bit on my team. What other RBs would be in that vein for you that you could get back with a replacement tight end in theory?
I think there's a few different guys that make the list. I mean, I think you're looking at like the top 13-ish type of running backs right now. Like Javonte is a really good call because people are looking at the box score and they're not realizing that he played a lot more snaps than Melvin Gordon last week, and he could be pulling away with that role. Then I think Javonte is a fantastic call. Another guy in that type of range, like I'm willing to probably go down. You could get more than this, I think. Even off the big game, I think you could probably. Well, Joe, I'll toss this to you. Do you think you could get more than Aaron Jones, like Aaron Jones and plus, like a wide receiver three?
Maybe it's hard because that game was so big, which you called, by the way. But yeah, like that's why I said Dillon first. I think Dillon, Kareem Hunt, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Miles Sanders. I think those are the type of running backs.
I'd be aiming higher than for Kelce.
You can aim higher, but like you're not getting McCaffrey. You know what you should do.
That, but
you know what I would do right now if I was this person? I would trade Kelce straight up for Dalvin Cook. Straight up.
Oh, that's a good call.
Do that deal
like that.
Then go pick up a stream tight end and just.
You might actually be able to get like Dalvin and like ship off.
I don't want to push
RB3 or something. No,
I don't want to push it.
Is like get rid of Kelce and maybe you do like a running back tight end, just kind of corollary, like Kelce and like Dalvin, Dameon, and then you give your RB3 and get their tight end back or something. Yeah, something like that.
That's what we do. So Mike Rogers, we just helped you. All right. So go get it done. Let us know how it works out too. Come back next week or come back on. What are we gonna get another one? He's on Thursday. Come back on Thursday. You tell us how it went. All right. Jerry Sly. Is Breece Hall a must start now? That's an interesting question. Breece Hall must start yet for you, D?
No, actually things got worse for Breece Hall.
That's what I was thinking.
He got the early down work this week, but
he got the touchdown. That's why people are excited.
I think so, but we're chasing false waterfalls here. Breece Hall for New York, they actually cut the routes out of the backfield into 3 pieces. Ty Johnson got involved in the passing game. So no, I'm actually more worried about Breece. If you could sell high based off of people touchdown hunting, I would absolutely do that.
Okay, let's go to Brad Kaplan. Is it time to panic on Najee Harris?
Man, I told you time to panic was last week.
I told you time to panic was August when they told you his foot was bad, but nobody wanted to listen.
I think it's time to panic.
Remember when everyone told me, it's fine, it's fine. It was 3 weeks ago. He was, I don't care. It's a foot injury to a running back. It's a problem.
Well, outside of even the foot injury, so I think that, yes, I would be trying to get out from under Najee Harris if you can, because he got the 20 touches last week. He got almost 90 total yards. The problem with Najee Harris's profile still, we talked about this after week 1, but after week 2, he still only ran routes on 51% of dropbacks, Joe. So he got targets, but that could easily be a slippery slope. Like next week, he could easily get like 2 or 3 targets for the amount of routes that he runs.
I got a trade for you. Would you right now trade Najee Harris and take back Clyde Edwards-Helaire and a wide receiver like a Bateman or somebody like that? I think you do, right? I think that's the kind of move that seems like the person who, like, they're like, you're giving me Najee Harris for Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Rashaad Bateman? Yeah, I want that first round guy. The first round equity still attached to these guys right now, still in the first month of the season.
People are not.
That's one of those sneaky moves I think you could make right now. Right now, do it. And they're facing Indianapolis this week, by the way, too. Boy, talk about licking your wounds, man. Brutal. All right, John Moreno, pick up Carr or Tua. I lost Lance, so that is a problem. Also, we've got injury reports too. Speaking of the Lance injury, that are coming up from Deepak, who over on our channel here is doing fantastic work at FantasyPros.com too. Look at that, boom, injury report. There it is. So make sure you check that out too. He is absolutely fabulous, and he's helping us out as the analyst, giving us a lot of great insight. So shout out to D. The other D, not D-Bro, Deepak, doing fantastic work here. So let's help out John. Pick up Carr or Tua. What are you going to do here?
Oh man, I'm actually gonna go with 2 on this one. I think it's really close. I mean, like this week, probably you want to lean Carr, but I still think that the explosive upside and the absolute ceiling. I mean, do you think Carr is higher than that, Joe? I mean, he hasn't looked good through the first 2 games.
Look, I know last week was fun.
I know you don't like Tua. It's the same
It's not
thing
that
with
I don't
Mariota.
like
You
Tua.
don't
It's
like
not
him.
that I don't like Tua. It's that
Well,
I know what Carr is. And if I've already lost Lance, I can't live like think about this. If you're the Trey Lance owner, you started in week 1 because you were excited. You probably took an L.
okay.
You started in week 2 hoping for better against Seattle.
Probably
You
took an L.
absolutely did. You took an L. I can't take another L with Tua against Buffalo this week. I'm not starting 0-3. Give me Derek Carr against the Titans.
That's
Let's not
fair.
overthink it.
I forgot they get the Titans this week, and we just saw Josh Allen demolish them.
You're supposed to remember the Titans. Didn't you see the movie every time?
Look. Okay, I'm not even halfway through the primer yet. Okay, cut us some slack, sir.
All right. Speaking of cutting things, you want again another question about cutting Mooney. I'm Nate wants to cut Mooney. Yeah,
No.
you can cut Mooney. Go cut Mooney. Go pick up Wilson. Go pick up. We talked about a bunch of wide receivers that are available on the waiver wire this week. Waiver wire wide receivers out there that you would cut for Darnell Mooney. Go.
It's a short list actually. I mean,
Dortch.
Maybe if you need a start in the next two
Sterling Shepard. I would cut him for Sterling Shepard right now. I know you're gonna laugh at me, but I'm telling you right now, there's nobody
laughing at you. Like I get it. Like I the volume is there. I think it depends on the context of your offense and if you need somebody to start versus long term. I still believe that Mooney can bounce back. It's scary, but if you do need somebody to start in the next 2 to 3 games, then yeah, I don't hate the Mooney cut.
All right, Jacob Glazer, half PPR. Paisan, he says. Hey, my people, how you doing? Who should I drop for Garrett Wilson? Penny, Jamal Williams, or Kahlil Herbert? I would
Penny.
I mean, this is a tough one. Is it Penny?
Penny. I think it's Penny.
I think you're probably right, which is because Williams has intrinsic value with Swift in that offense potentially. If anything happens to Swift, and it's already. I mean, look, remember when people didn't want to start Swift last week on Sunday? Mm-hmm. We had to talk people off the ledge. And Kahlil Herbert has way too much upside too. That was my problem. Is like Penny's already got the job. Herbert has to win it.
I think so. I think the problem is that Penny is looking at like only a slightly higher uptick as far as volume weekly than those two other guys. Fair. But what I think where it pushes it over for Herbert and Williams, if Swift or Montgomery miss any time, they're going to run routes. They're going to be probably 3 down backs, at least at this point we're projecting them. As opposed to Penny is not going to he's not going to have a role in the passing game. He never has, and he won't now. I mean, you're looking, all of his value comes from early downs, and that's what it really just caps his ceiling, unless he just goes full on Derrick Henry mode like he did last year.
Kyle Clark has a dynasty question. Should I trade Dameon Pierce and Cole Kmet for Ramondre Stevenson and Irv Smith? I think the answer is yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go make that deal, Kyle. Yes. All right. The stream because I like that deal. Like it. One's got to go from Dion. Ayuk, Darrell Henderson, Mooney, or Carter?
Mooney or Carter, probably.
Yeah, I was thinking Mooney. I mean,
I'm thinking Mooney. Yeah, that's kind of where I lean to.
Dan Knowles, who would you cut Chase Edmonds? Oh man, I can't believe in the same stream you got should I cut Chase Edmonds and an Njoku in the same stream? This is tough.
So it's not good for the brand, Joe. It's not good for the brand.
Well, look, but this is what we do. We take some good theoretical shots and some work out. Some of our theoretical shots have been very good and some don't. That's why they're shots at the end of the day.
Put it this way, if you're getting rid of Edmonds, you need to be stashing somebody that has either massive upside or has standalone like RB3 value right now, because that's really where I look at Edmonds. He's like, I mean, Miami kind of pigeonholed him into a Naheem Hines role. So RB3, RB4-ish type. And unless you're upgrading and getting somebody that's more valuable than that, or a rock solid wide receiver 3, then I'm not even dropping Edmonds then.
Here, would you rather have Ezekiel Elliott or Chase Edmonds rest of season?
Woof. Wow, it's bad.
I just asked this because I have them back to back in my rankings this week at 35 and 36. And when I made my rankings, Fantasy
That's
Pros yelled at
ugly.
me and said, "You've got Ezekiel Elliott very, very low compared to everybody else." And I said, "I know Fantasy Pros ranking system. Thank you. I'm aware of this."
Well, Tony Pollard did some things and stuff last week.
Sure did.
You love to see it.
C. Manley wants to know, drop Hockenson for Logan Thomas or Gerald Everett. I would say yes and yes. I'm not waiting.
Yeah, if you're looking at somebody to start for the next 2 to 3 weeks, I don't hate that at all.
I would try to
you
trade
can
Hockenson. Off
yeah,
of
I
name
would try to
value.
trade him too. I think the
Even
move
if
is
you
to
get-
trade him and not cut him.
Yeah, try if you could trade Hockenson for something that's better on the waiver wire, do that and then pick up one of these tight ends instead of doing that.
Just drop your
that
kicker or
drop.
defense and pick up the tight end and then try to work a trade. You have to.
There you go.
It's all good.
Work the room. Let's go. Brian P. Trade Travis Etienne or Chase Edmonds for Dobbins. That's a move I would make. I know the Dobbins situation's been
Edmonds. I would get rid of
great.
Edmonds for him.
Yes, Edmonds would be my first. Would you do it for Etienne though?
No, I would keep Etienne over Dobbins.
I agree. D Perp. Why isn't Russ cooking? And will he ever get cooking in Denver? That is a great question from Perp.
I don't know. Nathaniel Hackett left the gas on. I don't know. The kitchen is in flames.
Well, Nathaniel Hackett looks what overwhelmed. I think that's the word right now. I mean, it's hard to be a coach in the NFL. Not everybody hits the gate running like Mike McDaniel did, beating Belichick and John Harbaugh back-to-back weeks. Like, it's just tougher. Let's look at the schedule, see if it gets better, shall we? Let's. 49ers, probably not going to get better. That's a good defense. Vegas, okay. Indianapolis, okay. Chargers have a good defense. Then they play the Jets, Jacksonville, Tennessee, after the bye, week 9.
It really opens up after that. That's nice.
Tennessee, Vegas, Carolina, then Baltimore, KC, Arizona. The playoff schedule, Arizona, Rams, and KC.
I would say Russ gets cooking then. Yeah, I'm going to go back on that. I think Russ gets cooking.
I can't remember who it was we had on the pod that said this. I think it was Andy Behrens a couple weeks ago. I could be wrong, but I think it was, where he said, I like Russell Wilson, and he's not probably going to be as good as you think he is if he's good the first 4 weeks, or as bad as you think he is the first 4 weeks. And I thought that was a very profound statement, and it looks like it's the latter of the two. He becomes an interesting buy low, too, especially having quarterback issues right now. King J, trade Brandon Ayuk for Dameon Harris. I'm okay with that move if you need RB. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think
he's not going away. I know everybody wants to wave
everybody wants him to go away. He won't.
Dameon Harris.
Yep.
I know Erickson does. And lag, how much do we spend on Fab for Jimmy G, Mariota, or Flacco? 16-team league, and I lost Lance. So there you go.
16-teamer. Yeah.
30 your budget, maybe more.
I'm thinking like 20-25%. You know your league better than I do. So if you have to go aggressive and go north of that to get them, then yeah, I mean, it's a 16-teamer. You're grasping for straws and nothingness out there on the waiver wire for quarterbacks. So yeah, bid aggressively. Use the Fab. Unlike Hackett trying to save his timeouts, you don't save your Fab. Neither one of these things are transferable to the next week or year. So you coming to week 18 with $100 of Fab left and being like, woohoo! It doesn't help you, people. Use the money.
I would spend it on Jimmy G, by the way, because you never know when Mariota is going to get replaced, because they did draft a quarterback. And Joe Flacco. We're still on this, are we? And Joe Flacco is, again, Joe Flacco. So if I'm going to spend big, I got to spend on Jimmy G. There's too many variables with the other two guys. So especially in a 16-team league, do you want to be back here on the waiver wire in 2 weeks if Mariota sucks and they go with Ritter? I don't.
Well,
if Zach Wilson comes back in 2 weeks healthy and Joe Flacco loses the next 2 games, they're going to move to Zach Wilson. In fact, you know what I would do, NLAG? I would be kicking the tires right now on any team that's got Kenny Pickett, or if he's still floating around there, add Kenny Pickett for nothing this week. And add Jimmy G, but add Kenny Pickett just in the off chance he gets a start in the next couple weeks. And I think it's going to be an improvement.
It's so funny you said that, because I just finished that game for the primer, and I said my exact words were I would feel tentative about starting Mitch, because if he stinks it up, there's no reason why we can't definitively say Pickett doesn't make an appearance.
Pickett, let's go. By the way, we get his fans like call themselves like the picket lines, or like the picket fences. Like I don't know what they got to call themselves something. You got to have a name for the fan base of Kenny Pickett. Got to figure that out.
There's something that's brandable there, I feel like.
The letter Kennys? I don't know.
That's a good one.
To be fair.
I like that one.
To be fair. Caleb Patterson dropped Treylon Burks for Devin Duvernay. What? No. Why?
What?
Why would you do that?
No, don't do
What?
that. Don't
What?
do
No.
that. Never do that. Don't
Why?
do that.
No.
No.
All right. DJ Cologne, another famous DJ. We got a lot of DJs here on the show. Is it time to sell Dalvin Cook? No, it's time to buy Dalvin Cook. DJ.
No, buy or hold. No,
Yeah.
don't sell him.
Stephon Marbury, or just Stephon Marbury fan.
Starberry.
So there you go. First we thought it was a celebrity for a split second. Should I start to flex James Robinson? I think you certainly can. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's about where I have him in my ranks right now, like low in RB2, high in 3. So yeah, he's a strong flex.
All right. You know what else is strong? Strong move. What's a strong flex? Liking the stream. Go ahead, like it right now. Click it. Go ahead. You know you want to. Oh, there you did. You did it. Thank you so much. We love you guys. All right, let's go to Mike P.
The Sultan of
Trade
segues.
CD Lamb for Christian Kirk. You know how I feel about Christian Kirk, and you know how I feel about the Cowboys offense. Are we willing to get this tunnel vision, though, in week 3?
I would say I'm not opposed to making that move, but on name value alone, I think you can get something added on to the Christian Kirk side.
I don't know if you can.
I think
Can you? With Cooper Rush playing I will say this.
Joe, you just talked about people being married to what they spent on players with like Najee Harris in drafts. That still doesn't hold true for CeeDee Lamb. Like we burned through that already.
I think they see it and they go, ooh, Najee Harris still. And then they look at the numbers and they go, ooh, Najee Harris. CeeDee Lamb got more targets than I thought he would. He actually had a better game by far in the game with Cooper Rush than he had week 1. 7 for 75 with a did not have a score. He only got 12 PPR points, half PPR points, I should say, excuse me. But if he had the touchdown, that's 18. I mean,
yeah,
he's got the Giants, he's got Washington, the Rams, the Eagles, the Lions, and the Bears coming up. And then Christian Kirk on the flip side, if you want to know his schedule, we kind of hit some of those guys that are coming up for him. But I mean, it's one of those things where it's better now, but is it better 6 weeks from now?
I still would be holding on to Lamb probably. Okay. As good as Kirk has been, and I talked about it, like I think he's probably gonna be ranked as a top 24 wide receiver, but Dak comes back. Lamb has some good games in that stretch. You're looking at the same thing with Lamb, but I think Lamb's ceiling is higher than Kirk's.
Dude, by the way, Christian Kirk is ranked at 14 right now going into week 3. Just want to
really? Wow. I mean, I've got him high. Dude, I don't have him that high.
All right. 2 games, 12 catches on 18 targets for 195 and 2 touchdowns. He's wide receiver 7 right now. Honestly, I think you make this move. I believe enough in Trevor Lawrence to make this move, but I agree with Debro. You might be able to like squeeze something else out of them.
Yeah.
Besides Lamb.
I think you can. Even if it's like a mild upgrade, like if you're flipping tight ends, running backs, depth, I think you can get something added on to the Kirk side. Now, I'm not saying I hate Kirk. I'm surprised to hear the rankings that high, but I mean,
he's stream right now good. If you say those kind of things. Don't you dare say you hate Christian Kirk. How dare you?
I don't.
One of my favorite guys going into the year. Victor Jansen, drop Cousins for Jimmy G. No. Stop.
Ooh, no.
There will be non-Monday night games for Kirk Cousins.
Yes, we know this. Kirk Cousins wears his poo pants. He wears the brown pants every time he gets on primetime. This happens.
What is it about Monday nights? Like, I don't understand. It's like a sleep schedule thing? Is it like I don't understand. It's just so weird.
Does he go hit up like the sales at Kohl's beforehand? Is he just tired?
I don't know, but once again, Kohl's cash. I mean, let's go. I'm all about the Kohl's cash. VTube, drop Elijah Moore for Dameon Pierce in a PPR league. I don't know if that's a move you want to make. You ready to get there yet?
If you need running back help, I think that I'd be willing to do it. I think that both of them are
really in that. Yeah, I can understand.
Like Dameon Pierce still has like the way that the running back situation is shaking out. A lot of these RB2 types are kind of falling off the map, like Chase Edmonds. If Pierce is going to earn more of the backfield, which we already saw it flip from week 1 to 2, he could be in that RB2 category. Yep.
Speaking of Flip has a question. I have Schultz and talk about going right into one. I have Schultz and Cole Kmet in non-PPR. Logan Thomas, Conklin, Ingram, and Hurst are all available. What should they do?
You're going to drop, who is it? Schultz and who's the other one?
Schultz and Kmet. You drop Kmet and you pick up Thomas.
Kmet. That's pick up Thomas. Do. Yep. That's the easy move.
Michael S. Brady or Carson Wentz. I understand your pain.
It's still Brady. but I get it, but it's still Brady.
Yeah. MLB fans, the time to panic on Kyle Pitts.
No. What are you panicking for? Like
Because you
waiver
spent
wire
a
glory?
third or fourth round pick on a guy who's done guts so
Yeah,
far.
but I mean, like, even if you're like screaming into your pillow, like, what are you doing? You're not cutting him. You're not like you're gonna start him. Like, we can all be mad, but I mean, come on, like we're. I mean, there's only so many moves you're gonna make. Just sit there and be
Well, that's
mad
the
or start
problem
him.
is when you spend high on a big time tight end and they fail, you've missed
Yeah.
out on the depth of high end RB and wide receiver. So from a
Yep.
roster construction standpoint, this is why my personal teams are never elite tight end builds. Like it's just not something I like to do. I take the shots.
I wait and just cobble it together. I pick up
Cobble.
athletes, or I go with the guys late, and I'm either going to stream it or I'm going to take the upside shots on athletes late, and then say, okay, maybe one of them hits a moonshot for me.
We're in the fall. We're approaching fall season. Actually, tomorrow, I believe, last day of summer.
Ooh.
So, are you a cobbler guy? You go for the apple cobbler, the peach cobbler, your pie person?
I'm not a cobbler and pie person. I've never been a pie person. Like,
You don't like your fruit in your dessert. That's two separate things for you.
No, and honestly, like I'm just not like a pastry person. Like I'm a sour candy guy. Like I'm sorry, like cakes and pies. No,
gross.
But give me like a giant 5-pound bag of Sour Patch. Oh yeah, I'm in heaven.
You want to have a bet with me? My kids did this once where they made me eat a Sour Patch Kid and I couldn't eat it. I physically couldn't eat it.
You couldn't eat it?
I can't. It's so disgusting.
What's wrong
spit
with
it right
you,
out.
Joe?
Can't eat it. So if we have a bet, that should be the
How?
bet of what you make me try to eat on the air. Henry Michael trade. That'll be good television. Trade question: should I give up Travis Etienne and Julio for Kamara and Palmer in a full PPR? It's a complicated trade. Etienne and Julio for Alvin Kamara at his low point and Palmer in the full PPR.
No, I'm not a Palmer believer. I haven't been, and I'm still not.
But are you a believer in Kamara for Etienne and Julio? Just that alone.
I'm worried about Kamara's ribs. Like they've been really nondescript about what his rib issue is. Yeah, I'm more worried about that side. I'll stick with. It's kind of like the devil, you know. I'll stick with
fair
that.
enough. Arturo Garcia full PPR drop Gainwell and stash Brian Robinson. Yes. I think we can all agree on Discord TD leaderboard promo time. Let's go. The Discord week 1 leaders are Marcy O, who we love. Marcy, she's fantastic member of our Discord. G Church 17, both with 13 touchdowns already. Wow. So congratulations to our Discord gang. And if you're wondering what the hell are they talking about, check it out. That's what we're talking about, because somebody's going to win a Stephon Diggs jersey, baby. On our Discord, when you're a premium Fantasy Pros subscriber, you get access to the touchdown call channel, which is like we did for MLB this year on the MLB show, where you call home runs. This is calling touchdowns. There's a way to do it. If you win the week, you get $25 free to spend at our Fantasy Pro shop. And look, one of the big winners might get that Stephon Diggs autographed jersey. So it's free to play if you're a premium subscriber. So another perk of all the premium love we give you here when you go premium at Fantasy Pros. You get the My Playbook, you get the Discord, you get Derek Brown coming to your house, mows your lawn. It's beautiful. Actually, Chris will come mow your lawn. But Chris only mows 3/4 of it. He leaves one patch where he just leaves it tall, but he doesn't tell you where.
It's called the soul patch. We already know this.
It's the soul patch, the lawn soul patch. All right, let's go to Anthony Garcia. Can I drop Devin Singletary at this point? I don't think you should do that.
No, you hold him.
You're not loving life, but you hold him. Chris, music for work. Drop Chase Claypool for Garrett Wilson 1,000 times.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do that. Do that now.
Buddy P. Moon. Drop Madison for Mostert. I think so.
Unless you have Dalvin, then yes, I agree with that move. I agree with that move.
Okay. Now, again, there's context on this next one. I was gonna bro this person until I saw the context. So Anthony, you just missed the bro. No bros so far. No bro questions. Anthony Ramos. Is DJ Moore droppable in an 8-team league? Christian Kirk, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Curtis Samuel, Rashod Bateman, Cortland Sutton are all on waivers. My head's going to explode. Like, that's a receiving core I just want, let alone they're all on waivers. So my answer to this is, D-Bro, are you ready to cut bait? I am for Kirk, for sure. For London, I think I would do that too.
I was like, give me the list of people here, and I'm going to rapid fire them. Yes.
Kirk, Wilson. Garrett Wilson.
Yes.
Drake London.
Yes.
Curtis Samuel.
No.
Rashod Bateman.
Yes.
Cortland Sutton.
Yes.
There you go. There's your answer. So yes, 18 leagues. That must be fun. Daniel Barron, Russell Wilson, or Carson Wentz rest of season. I can't do this yet. It's still Wilson,
Russ.
but
It's Russ.
But look, don't be afraid to grab another quarterback and sit Wilson until he figures it out. Like,
Yeah,
I'd rather Wilson go off on my bench and win the week because Carson Wentz was good enough than to suffer another loss. I can't do that.
We had so many questions in the Discord in my AMA channel yesterday, and everybody's saying, what do I do with Lance? And a lot of the questions were saying, do I pick up this quarterback or this quarterback? And I'm like, send me your bench because I'm probably going to tell you to pick up both and then just stream matchups. Like, there's probably a crappy player on your bench that could just go bye-bye to the waiver wire, and you just stream these two quarterbacks back and forth the rest of the year.
CTQAP. I can't pronounce that. I'm just not going to try. Sell high on Aaron Jones. Would you sell high on Aaron Jones?
No. It's not a sell high. Who are you going to get for
Dalvin Cook? If you could get Dalvin Cook for him, I would do that.
If you can get Dalvin.
Would you get Derrick Henry for him?
No, I don't want Derrick Henry.
Oh, you don't want Derrick Henry over Aaron Jones?
No, I don't.
You're the
one looks explosive and the other one doesn't.
Daniel Rebstock. How much fab for Tua if I have Waddle? I have Stafford and Jameis Winston. Well, I would drop Winston for Tua.
I'd drop Winston. Winston could go out any week. He's dealing with fractures in his back. One decent
I'm telling
hit,
you, man,
and he's
Saints,
out. It sucks.
Saints are going to be rough this week. What do you want to spend on Tua then?
I talked about it. Bet the long shot, man. The Falcons to win the NFC South.
No.
Just saying. Just throwing it out there.
Or you could just go outside and light your money on fire. You could do that too. Tua, how much you want to spend on Tua?
I'm not I mean, this is a one quarterback. I'm never blowing the clip for a one quarterback.
Like, when is he ever going to play above Stafford except the bye week? So
I mean, that's it. It's like you're really
7
to 10%, and that 10's probably generous, like 5 to 7 probably. In a one quarterback league, like you don't have to.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you want him, you're going to have to this week because somebody lost Trey Lance.
Well,
so they're going to be out there and Tua's going to go for a lot more than you think. So just putting that out there. So you're probably not going to get Tua.
You're probably not going to get him. Well, that's fine. If he has, if he has a rough game or two after this and he gets dropped again, then you just pick him back up.
At Fantasy Pros, we bring you the game inside the game. Okay, that's what we do here. See that conversation? Strategery. Eric B. What do we do about Tom Brady? Yeah. Hope that he starts to turn it around.
Hold him.
I mean, yeah.
You're not cutting him. You hold him.
You hold him and you hope for the best, or you trade him for Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
and you trade headaches with somebody else.
Yep.
Should I trade Juju Smith-Schuster and Ezekiel Elliott for Cam Akers? That's from Flipside.
Wow. I think you can get more than that. So no.
But I understand.
I mean, I don't hate you getting rid of.
I mean, if you want to start the conversation with Cam Akers, but not trading Juju and Elliott for Cam Akers.
No.
I don't think we're there yet. Bowed Shark, trade Justin Jefferson for Jonathan Taylor. Well, this is all just about roster situations. Like,
I mean,
that's the only thing that I will accept for Justin Jefferson is Jonathan Taylor.
You're saying top 3 player for top 3 player at the positions?
Here's the thing. If you're wide, like, let's say you drafted Kirk, you drafted Bateman, you drafted Mike Williams, you got a great wide receiver draft, but your RBs stink, then okay. Like, that's the 1-1 deal you could make and say, I'm a better team when I can get these other guys at wide receiver in my lineup because my RB's killing me right now. It's a black hole. That I get. So that's the circumstance. That's the only circumstance.
How fast it happens, Joe. Week 1, we're talking about Justin Jefferson's the next Cooper Kupp. Week 2, people are like, oh no. Like,
here's my face worried about Justin Jefferson. See, do you see the worry? There's no worry there. There's none.
No.
Dortch for Myers trade. Do it. You want Dortch or Jacoby Myers? What do you want?
I want Myers. Dortch can get kicked back to the bench when Rondell comes back. It's not happening to Myers.
All right, let's rapid fire these. Anthony R. How do you feel about Corey Davis rest of season?
Same as I did before. He's like a wide receiver 6 or 7.
Bucky Pirtle. Trade Burrow for Justin Herbert. I mean, if you can, sure.
Yeah, if you can. Yeah.
But I don't think that's gonna happen. Would you start Garrett Wilson instead of Cordero Patterson? That's from Hugo.
Yes.
I would too. Xbox Wizard, sell Derrick Henry or hold in the PPR. You hold unless you can get really good.
Depends on what you get. I mean, right now you're stuck in a hold situation with his week 1 and 2. How he did.
Codename Red, is it time to move away from Juju?
Yes, the time was
Yeah.
before the season, but yes.
Steph James wants to know, what are we doing with Chase Edmonds? Well, you're dropping him if you have something you can pick up, or you're trading him if somebody will give you something. I will take Dameon Pierce right now this week with that matchup against the Bears.
Yeah.
Edmonds. See if you can pull off that trade, Steph. That's what I would do. I would also upgrade the tools if you haven't already on my playbook. Make sure you go to fantasypros.com/offers, make a deposit, and then you get my playbook and you get the waiver assistant, you get the trade analyzer, the trade finder, you get incredible things over at myplaybook.com, over at fantasypros.com/myplaybook. You can download the app as well. That's available on the Apple Store and Google Play. Also, make your life easier. Use our tools at Fantasy Pros to help you set your lineups, to make your moves, to make your trades, to make life better. That's what we do here, and we hope that we made your life better for this last hour talking football. We appreciate you. Hope you're having a good day out there, and we hope you join us again on Thursday for another glorious live stream at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the YouTube channel. Like the stream, subscribe, and click that bell for notifications. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Derek Brown, I'm Joey P. We will see you next time, kids.